Micke is the driver of this car, and Micke also runs the Ljungbyhed, the Drivers Club, and lots of events and everything. And can you tell us a bit about this car, please?
Well, yeah, this is a TCR car, and the chassis and the bottom of it is a TCR car. So it is converted with a battery pack, electric motor, and inverter. I think it's 3 motors actually.
Okay.
So it's yeah, it's like 610 horsepower, rear wheel driven.
What's a TCR car? What's that?
It's a touring car regulation. So
okay.
it's like mainly the base is touring cars.
Okay, understand.
In this kind of size, and it's a 4-cylinder engine with around 350 horsepower. This is converted, so it's a battery pack in the back and also motor, and we have rear wheel driven car instead, so it's a totally different ball game to a regular TCR car. This is more like a big go-kart.
Big go-kart.
There's a lot of torque, a lot of horsepower, a lot of it's a little bit more heavy, but it doesn't. You don't feel. I drove it yesterday, so it's. I mean, it's like a big go-kart.
Interesting. You can see on my YouTube videos, I've tested the Polestar, the Mustang Mach-E, and also the Jaguar. And typically for electric cars, it's the immediate response on the torque. And you say this is a 2-wheel drive car.
And also what I can say about it is that it's. I mean, it's as you say, Björn, it's immediate torque. So there's no gearbox. It's just when you, as you go with the car through a corner and you exit the corner and you go on the throttle, you can immediately feel the response, and you can just use the throttle to adjust, modulate the the oversteer. So it's
so in a way it's easier to drive than
no, it's much harder because
because of the immediate response
or no, the power. The power means that you will have to be very precise.
Okay, understand. Okay. Yeah, interesting. 610, and I was a bit surprised to look here. And usually you find a big engine here up front, but now this is completely empty.
It's empty, yeah.
Definitely
and also,
interesting.
One thing about this car is that there's a lot of noise. It's like 95, 97 decibels, and it sounds like a flying machine, a jet engine. So it's it's quite noisy for being electric. It's all the differentials and brings a lot of
mechanical noises.
A lot of it.
Yeah, and I guess from the engine too, I suppose.
Yeah.
And no sound insulation like usually on the race. That you don't have on the race cars.
Jet plane almost. So it's quite cool sound actually.
Yeah, because I flew the electric plane, the Pipistrel Velis Electro.
Yeah.
And that was immediate response, and when you pull back the throttle, the propeller stopped. It's totally crazy.
Yeah.
And that was a bit quiet, but you hear sound from the propeller because it's a wind noise, aerodynamic noise.
Yeah.
But this is a lot of mechanical noise.
Yeah.
I guess this is not the main charger.
That is just only for a 12 voltage system.
Interesting.
So there's a big charger, not that big actually. It's like this big charger that just plug into the
interesting
to the power output. So it's nice cars to drive. It's the first electric touring car built in Sweden by PVR. It's called PVR 001, and great job done by those guys.
It's something. How does it look from the inside? If you step over on the other side, you can just show a bit of things. It's a 2-seater, which is very. I like 2-seater race cars because I had a tour with Rasmus and and 2-seaters. Really nice because you can bring a passenger.
Well, if you look inside, it's just like a regular race car. It's you can see there's a roll cage and the steering wheel is just the same. The pedals are the same. The only difference is that we have a main switch.
Big one.
Yeah, exactly. And then this button here this is just reverse or drive.
Aha, okay.
So that's the
reverse and drive.
Yeah,
you just flip the switch.
Yeah, and reverse, and then you just stop.
And since you don't have a gearbox, you don't have a shifter or
no,
anything.
no. And there's so much torque, so it's and it runs so quick on the straights. So it's awesome car to drive actually.
Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to. I think this will bring a new ball game to racing actually.
Yeah. So racing does not have to be bad for the environment. That's the conclusion with this. And I thank you very much for the tour around this car, and it's super interesting. You know, I like sustainable flying with biofuel that you can use in conventional planes, and you also have the electric planes coming up now.
Yeah.
So it's going to change. Everything is going to change. So we don't have to stop racing.
No, not at all.
So
I mean, we
just do it another way.
Swedish Touring Car Championship uses biofuel at the moment, but we're looking into the electric cars, of course, zero emission, and I mean, also even down to the tires. We will look at what we're using. So.
Perfect. Interesting. Thank you very much for the tour at the Drivers Club Sweden, Ljungbyhed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is here. The intercooler cools the inverter.
Yeah.
Because it gets very hot. Yeah. What do you say, Daniel? Is it difficult to drive or easy?
No, it's back to the roots. It's like a go-kart.
Go-kart.
So I think when you went from karting to touring cars, it was kind of disappointing to step up to the big cars
because they were slow and the response was
the ultimate driving experience is always karting. So now we're
back to karting.
Yeah, it's getting back to that. So it's like a big go-kart. You don't have any chassis roll. It's immediate power. It's more like a go-kart.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And this is the inverter, or no?
No, this is just a plate for.
To cover
so the inverter is in the rear.
In the rear, okay. Yeah. As the engine and as a battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the battery is a T mounted in the Cardon tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel is telling that his company built this car.
Yes, that's correct. So we built it together with some of our partner companies to like a study to our vision for the future of motorsports, and would it even be possible to have proper racing with electric. So one of the first things we started to discuss back in 2017 was if we were going to have rear wheel propulsion or front wheel propulsion in the future of cars. And we realized that the future of cars would probably be four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. So the history of touring cars with front-wheel drive cars would now switch to something more exciting, which is rear-wheel
Interesting,
cars.
Because I love when people have determined opinions about how cars should be, that racing is not so good for the environment, and I love when you challenge that opinion.
Yeah, this was some of the cores of our companies when we started. We wanted to break boundaries and challenge norms in general. We have a huge passion for racing, but also this suits my personal opinions of sustainability, and also something when we started our first company back in 2012 with the race team. One of the ambitions was to show that this was a sport that was equal. You can compete on equal terms between the genders, so both female and male drivers. So this is in our opinion, if you have electric and both male and female drivers, you have a sport for the future. A sport that actually fits into the city center, not on racetrack far out in the woods. So this is our vision of the future of racing.
Very interesting, and we will go out to see when you pass outside. We will at the long straight, and when you go out, and it will be interesting to hear the sound of the car. Of course, you can work with sound insulation and lower the sound of it, but it's obviously not so quiet.
No, so this was one of the aspects when we started to design the car as well, that people say that, oh, but electric is boring, it doesn't sound anything. So our engineers, I asked them if we can actually make it sound a lot. So this is 95 decibels. It's what we are allowed to sound, and so I asked for something sounding like more like a fighter jet Star Wars thing, and I think we're not completely developed on that stage, so we still have things to improve. But I think the sound that we have at the moment is something that is increasing the sense of speed which you want to achieve. So it's a work in progress, but at the moment I think it's good enough to understand the concept.
I've flown fighter jets in the Swedish Air Force, and of course the impressive sound is a big part of the experience. It is. But then I also tried the electric planes, Pipistrel Electro, with a 1 hour range, 1 hour 5 minute range, and that one is not completely quiet because you have the propeller noise from aerodynamic noise, but you don't hear much from the engine. But I don't feel any need for a plane to give some noise. No. But the racing is different because it's people's what they expect.
This is entertainment, and then you have to have things that invokes emotions.
Exactly.
So this is so not to show that electric racing could be potentially even better than combustion engine. You need to have noise and sound but also something that we want to achieve is car movement, because this is a somewhat lost art. Because the cars are with the regulations that has been in the past, the cars becomes too easy to drive. They're too good. They are not built to create emotions. They're just built to be fast.
That's why some people like old cars and very basic cars like the Morgan or Lotus Caterham 7 and things like that, because back to basic is a big experience.
I think you can do a bit of both, but what you want to if you make 10 perfect race cars and you have 10 drivers, nothing will happen. They will just go on a straight line. If you build cars that's challenging to drive, and so we call it high-tech analog. We're talking about.
Exactly. That's a good name.
So okay, if you want to go time attack and you want to go GT3 racing wherever, but then you have to we say that the definition between electric motorsport and the combustion engine is that combustion is cool as hell, but then you need to pay yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to have market relevance, you need to have electric,
Yeah.
because then you can actually attract sponsors and you can potentially go into cooler places to race as well.
That's a very good point, because companies will not sponsor combustion engine driven cars anymore.
No.
That's going to change, because then we have the Skellefteå Kraft here, and yeah, my daughter, she works at Öresundskraft as a communicator, and she is very occupied with sustainability, and you just have to follow the trend.
Yeah.
And you do it with this car. Impressive. Thank you very much for the talk. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
And it kills the opinion that racing has to be, well, not so environmentally friendly, bad for the environment. Interesting. Thank you.